John, first question, back right in the. There you go.
Jayson, John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. After the game was over, you and Jaylen had a long kind of embrace at half court. Can you share any of what that was and like kind of what was going through your mind at that moment?
Just, showing the emotions of the game. Two guys that was excited, tired that, after the game, we're not necessarily saying like one more or anything like that. We're just saying however long it takes. Nobody's relaxed. Nobody is satisfied. But, just at that moment, just told him I was proud of him, and he said the same thing, and that we got to keep fighting. We can't relax, and that was basically the conversation.
Tim in the back under the camera.
Jayson, Tim Reynolds with the AP. Kind of along those lines, I know you haven't gone through this, so you don't know what the next 2 days will be like, but how difficult do you envision it to make between now and Friday night seem normal, seem like there's just a game to play on Friday?
Honestly, not too difficult. From the standpoint of last year, we were down 0-3 in the conference finals, and we really felt like, we were going to come back, and we almost did. We was a sprained ankle away from having like a real shot. So, we're not relaxing or anything like that. And, just not even focusing on winning on Friday, whatever, just however long it takes. That's our motto, just however long it takes, that's what it's going to take. And nobody's not time to relax at all.
Standing in the back left.
Valencia King, Real Talk Sports out of Dallas. Thank you for your time, Jayson. If I could take you away from basketball for a moment. Father's Day is coming up on Sunday, and I know that's something that's very important to you. As you begin to face this obstacle of fighting for a title, what would you tell your son about facing obstacles and overcoming them?
That's a great question. I would say that, life is about roller coasters, right? And the game of basketball and life and whatever your occupation is, right? We all go through ups and downs. And in the toughest moments, that's when your true character comes out. And essentially being the same person all the time, that's what I try to do in the best of times and in the worst of times. And that's what I'm going to try to instill him, that you got to be the same person, got to be a stand-up guy, through thick and thin.
Back right, fifth row.
Hey, Jayson. Jack Simone, SB Nation. There was a point in the first quarter where Drew kind of pulled you guys in. Luka and Kyrie were going on this run. They were scoring. They were getting past you guys and hitting big shots. What did he say in that moment, and how did that, affect your guys' defense, in particular for the rest of the game?
Yeah, they came out swinging. That was to be expected. That they were at home. Their crowd was behind them. This is obviously a big game, so we expected their first punch, and it's just in that moment that Drew kind of brought us together and, just clapped his hands like, yo, we got to wake up, we got to lock in, we got to get some stops. Because at that point, they had like 25 points. In the last 5-6 minutes, we held them to like 5 or 6 points. But to start the quarter, we weren't getting any stops. And, we're not going to win a game like that. So we just had to reset and lock back in at that moment.
Tim, standing on the left.
Jayson, basically from that point until the 10-minute mark of the fourth quarter, you guys had complete control of the game, and then there was that 4 or 5 minute stretch where things sort of went completely haywire, and then you were able to reset again. Sort of what happened in that early part of the fourth quarter when they made that big run to get back into it, and what allowed you guys to sort of reset yourselves and close the game out from there when it got back close again?
Not really trying to look too much into it. The game of basketball is about runs, and this is at the highest level. That's the best team in the West at this point in the time. So they're going to make shots. They're going to go on a run. And it's just all about how do you respond. We talk about it all the time. 20-point leads, none of that is ever safe. It's never time to relax. And, you never want to give up a 20-point lead. Obviously, we wish we'd have got some better shots, took care of the ball. But things happen. It's never going to go how you expect it. And we talk about that all the time. But if you want to be a champion, you have to be resilient in those moments, and we showed that tonight.
Steve here in the front.
Steve Buckley from The Athletic. Before the game, your coach said to us, if you've been in a fight with someone and you think you're about to beat them, you usually get sucker punched. The closer you are to beating them, the closer you are to losing. Does he say that to you players on a regular basis, and how demonstrably does he say it? And what are you expecting from him the next couple of days going into Game 4?
Yeah, Joe does a great job of showing us clips and things from different sports, right? He's a big UFC fan, and showing us fights of people that I don't know like the terminology in UFC, but put them in a chokehold and shit, and like they're about to tap out, and you just see the guy or the woman who's winning relaxing because they feel like they're about to win, and then you give the other person life. Just trying to translate that to the game of basketball, that the closer you are to winning, the closer they are to surviving, and basically just trying to remind us in the group that we still got a long way to go. We still have to play the right way. We still got to win, that they're not going to quit, that we should expect the best from them from here on out.
We go Gary, Jay, and then Jared.
Jason, Gary Wash from Boston Globe. When they're making their run, and it could have been from the past, oh, here we go again. There's been some times at Game 4 against Golden State where guys were close. What mentality has changed where you and Jaylen both said, let's go get this. Let's make plays. Let's make buckets. Forget what happened in the last 6 minutes. Let's go be heroes.
You just kind of alluded to it, that we've been in that situation. We've been in a close game where we were up, and we almost went up 3-1, and then they tied it. And experience is the best teacher, right? We learned from our mistakes. We learned from a team at the time that was better than us, that was, had been there and been over that hump, and mentally tougher at the time. And we've grown from that. We really have. And, it was on display tonight.
On your right, Jay.
You were down 1 at halftime. Did you feel okay about that after the punch you guys took from Luka and Kyrie? And then what went into executing throughout the third quarter? Joe said you guys made a lot of first reads during that stretch. But what went into that as you kind of pulled away?
Yeah, I got to watch the film, but that was some excellent basketball that we played to start the third, especially on the offensive end. I don't know how many possessions in a row that we got a great shot. We made most of them. We might have missed a few, but the way that we started the third quarter was incredible. And everybody that was on that court, the mindset that we came out to start the third, and our execution, we did a hell of a job to start the third quarter.
Jared, last question on the right.
Jared Weiss, The Athletic. Ever since Joe came on board, you guys have taken a ton of threes. And we've all been asking, is there such a thing as too many threes? And tonight, you took so many more threes in Dallas throughout the game that even as Luka and Kyrie were scoring, you were able to keep up. What did you think when Joe first came in and was like, we want to maximize our three-point shot margin? And how has that gotten you through a lot of tough times over the years to end up with these kind of wins?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's as cut and dry as we just need to shoot a lot of threes. But with the group that we have and playing to our strengths, being able to beat guys off the dribble, and the luxury that we have is with our starting five, whether it's KP or Al, everybody can space the floor and shoot. So it just puts their 5 men in a tough position. 5 men are usually known to help at the rim, but if we have guys that can attack you off the dribble and get all the way to the rim, you want to help, but we got 40% three-point shooters all around the paint. So it's just all about making the right reads. We never we need to shoot 40 threes a night, but if we play to our strengths and we space how we're supposed to, it just finds the right person, and we don't turn down any great shots.
Thank you, Jason. We'll take questions for Jaylen. Please raise your hand. We'll go Bobby here in the front on 1.
Bobby Manning, CLNS Media. Jaylen, you stressed defense from day one this year. For so much of this series to kind of be individual efforts on defense, switching, guarding your yard, how much does it say about the way you've embraced defense this year, and how has that just kind of developed to this point?
I think I've made that,
I made that pledge from beginning of the season, well, before the season even started. I told myself that I wanted to just maximize my defensive potential, and I wanted to make first team all defense going into the season. I mean, that didn't happen, but to be able to be in these moments and show your defensive versatility, I mean, picking guys up, guarding guys in the post, switching on, blocking contested threes. It's been big for us, but we got a lot of great defenders on this team. So it's been a full team effort. But that's something I definitely took personal going from last year to this year.
Adam, right here in the front.
Yeah, you guys obviously played most of these playoffs without KP, but this felt a little bit different because he'd come back, such a big stage and all of that. What kind of, discussions did you guys have when you found out he was going to be out? What was the kind of mindset going in without him, and what did you think of the way Xavier pitched in? And did KP talk to you guys at all, like before or after the game?
No, KP didn't talk to us, but we've been playing all season and all playoffs without KP, so it wasn't any surprise for anybody. Obviously, we love to have KP out there. We're different when he is, but X stepped in that role, and I thought he was great. Defensively, I thought he was stellar. And then that big shot he made in the corner, I just knew it. I just knew when I drove they were going to help, and he was going to be open, and I trusted it all the way. I just knew it was going in. I don't know how to tell you. It was just like a divine experience. I knew X was going to make that shot, and he did, and that was big for us. So I thought X was great.
Dave, second row on your left.
Jaylen, Dave McMahon with ESPN. 8 years in your partnership with Jayson Tatum, you're in the fourth quarter with a chance for the first time as teammates, I guess, to get 3 wins in the finals, closest you ever come to a championship, and a 20-point lead's down to 1. Is there any sort of unspoken language between the two of you, any shared responsibility that, hey, we got to make some plays here to close this thing out? And what is it like to kind of tackle that final stage of the fourth quarter tonight together?
I thought it was a great team win. That lead dwindled fast. I know we were up 20, and then they stormed back, and that's what the beauty of basketball is. You can never let up. It's always time, and they were able to cut the lead. But in those moments, those are the moments which you have to just live for. We've been in those moments a lot. We just needed to be patient, be poised. I feel like we got some good looks. The defensive intensity ramped up. The officiating, got a little bit tighter. So at the end of the day, you just got to make plays. I thought we got some good looks down the line in the fourth. Some went in, some didn't, but we was able to make plays and find a way to win. And we've been in those positions, and we've lost. So it was great to overcome that with my brother Jayson and the rest of our team. That was special.
On your right, second row.
Hey, Jaylen, Andrew Callahan from the Boston Herald. Luka has 8 points in the fourth quarter of this series. He's shooting 20%. We can see that, but what does it feel like guarding him as much as you have when it comes to the fourth quarter? And can you sense him wearing down at all?
Luka's a great player. I'm gonna start by saying that he does a lot for their team. Offensively, he has the ball in his hands a lot. It's a tough lift for him. So, he's been tough. Even with that fourth quarter, those stats, he's still been able to pretty much get to whatever he wants. So, we just got to continue to be better. And that's all I could really say.
Tim, standing on your left.
Jaylen, you mentioned how you guys have been in a lot of spots over the years. Obviously, you go down early in the first quarter. You guys recover, respond the way you did the end of the first quarter. Beginning of the fourth quarter, same thing. They go on that big run. They get back in the game. You're able to respond again. How much of the way you guys responded on the road, like you have so many times over the last couple of years, is because you guys have been in so many of these situations and have sort of experienced just about everything you could have so far?
Yeah, sometimes success can be, almost not, I wouldn't say a bad thing, but just being able to finish that quarter where we were up 20, started the fourth, they came out and made some plays. I checked out around that time, and then around that fourth quarter, they just stormed all the way back. But, it's like that in basketball. And sometimes when you are winning, comfort kind of sets into your mind. You kind of like relax, Your brain kind of wants to go at ease, and you got to fight that. You got to fight that temptation to fall into that because there's still time left to be played, and the other team is still competing. And I think even though that lead dwindled fast, we found ways and moments to overcome it. In that fourth quarter that I was proud of, we made some big-time plays. Drew Holiday, D. White, JT was physical, aggressive, got to the paint, and we was able to finish it.
Third row on your right.
Jaylen, heading into that third quarter, just what was your mindset, incentive, what you were trying to do in your approach? And the second part of my question is the embrace with Jayson Tatum at the end, to be one win away from championship after all the years you guys played together and all that, after you won the Eastern Conference MVP. Just what's that like right now? Or what was that like at that moment? Sorry.
To answer your first question, I feel like in the first half, I feel like we had some good looks, some good reads. I was finding guys getting to the paint, getting open. But on offense, I was a little bit, I was letting them off the hook. I feel like they were letting me kind of just have open looks from three. And I was taking the first one, and I should have been a little bit more patient. I was a little bit more patient in the second half of letting the game kind of come to me a little bit more. But it's awesome. I don't even really have words. It kind of doesn't even feel real right now, and I'm just trying to stay in the moment. It feels great to be up 3-0 in this series, but the job's not done.
Front left.
Jaylen, that's you had 7 assists tonight for the second straight game. That was the first time you've done that in the postseason. What's your progression been like in that area on this stage, and how have you been able to balance it so well with, also maintaining your aggression scoring?
Yeah, just seeing what the game is giving me and making the right play. I feel like we got a bunch of great looks. And good things happen when I get to the paint. Sometimes I don't always get the assist. Sometimes it's a hockey assist, but I just like making the defense converge. You got to respect me getting to the basket. And, we got a lot of great shooters. So I was committed to that all night. And then the first half, I feel like I could have done it more. I settled for some shots because I had a big on me. And, I needed to get to the paint a little bit more, and I did that in the second half and then in the fourth quarter, and I feel like that's what helped us win.
Jared on your right, third row.
Jared Weiss, The Athletic. Joe, ever since he's gotten here, has tried to kind of reframe the way you guys think about basketball and looking at things as almost like a balance. And he talked today about how sometimes new ideas, it's hard to accept them at first. So looking at the different ways that he's tried to change the way you guys think about the game, how long did it take for you to kind of understand and embrace them, and how do you see those kind of paying off now?
Well, the coaching staff has been fantastic all season long. I've been saying that throughout the regular season, even before we got to the playoffs. It's been just super organized. We've walked through all different types of scenarios. We've been overly prepared, and they make sure that we know. Sometimes it's you got the coaches, they game plan, but they don't always let you know exactly what they're thinking. They tell us everything, super transparent, and we trusted it. And I thought that has been great. So Joe has been a big key, reason to that, and he showed himself in his playoffs. He's been coaching his ass off.
Vince in the middle, and then Gary, last two.
Jaylen, Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. You hit the big 20-point third quarter, and then in the fourth, when they came back, you hit the big 2 jumpers to give you guys some breathing room. When you're in those moments, do you feel like the calm, the maturity, the poise compared to maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago? What is that process of being able to handle those moments been like for you?
I think, it definitely has been some growth, but I think this team has trusted me, especially in this playoffs, in those moments, to just be who I am, and I feel like I've been able to just deliver just by being patient and being poised. Those opportunities have presented themselves, and I've been able to take advantage of them. But I give all my credit to my teammates for the trust they had in me, to have the ball in my hands, and to be able to make those plays.
Gary in second row, center.
Jaylen, Gary Wash from Boston Globe. Can you take us through 2 questions? Take us through the dunk at the end of the third quarter. What were you thinking there? And it just seemed like that kind of seized the momentum.
Just being aggressive, running that action with the ball in my hands to finish the third. I wanted to make sure that we got a good quality look. So if they would have overhelped, I would have been ready to kick it out. But I saw I've been making those passes in the first half, and they didn't want to get those threes up, so they kind of were in between. And when I seen that, it was lights out. So I just went up and just finished it.
And what's the difference between maybe in past years, you guys in the fourth quarter kind of going, uh-oh, here we go again, as opposed to you and Jayson going, okay, let's get this, let's make plays, let's be the heroes here?
I think experience is the best teacher. All year long, we've been hearing about the Celtics of the past. You know, for the last 6 to 8 months, that's all we've been hearing is like all the different shortcomings we've had in the past. This is a new team. You know what I mean? We learned from those experiences, and in these moments, you could see that, we didn't run from it. We stepped up to the plate, and we found a way to win.
Thank you, Jaylen. Thanks, everybody. Okay, we'll take questions around the room. First question on 2, second row on the aisle. Dave?
Hey, Xavier. David Brennan with ESPN.
On your left.
What was it like for you as a teammate to see Jaylen and Jayson outscore the Mavericks on their own in the third quarter, and then both of them make key plays down the stretch in the fourth after the Dallas had made it a game again?
Those are our leaders. So for them to step up how they did in the third quarter and just kind of take the game over is what we needed. And they came through for us. And especially in the fourth quarter with those last 4 to 5 minutes where we were just struggling to get a bucket, like they willed in the buckets, And, at times that's what you need. And they responded, and we needed it for sure.
Fifth row on the right.
Hey, X, Jack Simone, SB Nation. With KP out, you guys obviously lose one of the best rim protectors in the league. You come in, you play a very switch-heavy style. Luka was going at you a little bit, got a few stops at him. What's it like sort of playing this different brand of basketball when you have to just step in with guys who've been playing a different brand with KP sort of on the back line and then being able to let the guys pass him? Like, how easy is it to just jump in and be ready to go?
This is something, as far as staying ready, is something that I've been doing for majority of my career. My rookie year, I was fortunate enough to play because when my best friend was hurt, Jaren was recovering for his meniscus, so I was starting a lot. Second year, I was out of rotation. Third year, 2 guys got injured, Brandon Clark, Steven Adams, so I stepped up again. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that, I've been preparing for, I guess, for a while now. So I was, ready for the opportunity. They were kind of hinting at potentially, if KP's workout didn't go well and he didn't feel comfortable that I was going to have to step in today.
John, back right.
John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. Joe said that he went to you because of your time in Memphis and because you are familiar with a similar defensive strategy against Luka Doncic and the Mavs. Can you kind of walk us through that, how comfortable you were and how helpful that was in you stepping in?
Yeah, I'm very comfortable. I feel like switching is like my bread and butter defensively. That's something that allows me to use my quick feet and my strength to be able to kind of bump guys off versus being in a drop coverage and having to use my vertical leap. So for me, being able to switch and stuff like that is more catered for me. So being able to get subbed in and used for those opportunities, I feel like I can excel majority of the time.
Right here in the front.
Noah Dalzell, SB Nation. Xavier, you've had relatively limited stints during this postseason, but now on the most important stage, you're playing really significant minutes and hitting a really important 3. What are the emotions that you felt in that moment when you saw that shot go in, the bench go crazy, and what are you feeling right now?
I knew that when I saw Maxi Kleber go to the block that I was going to shoot regardless of anything. And then, their bench was talking, so it was kind of cool to be able to hit it and look at the bench as well. But to hear, the bench going crazy on our end, guys like Svi and O'Shea and stuff like that, it was pretty awesome because those are my guys. Those are my SRG guys. Each day in and day out, we go to war with each other to try to better each other, to be ready for whoever's name gets called. So for them to celebrate me and be hyped for me is pretty cool.
Steve up front.
Steve Buckley from The Athletic. Coach was sharing some UFC with us before the game about when you think you have your opponent beaten, that's when you're going to sucker punch you and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're up 3-0, and you're at the precipice of winning a championship. What are you expecting from your coach over the next couple of days to reinforce that message?
I expect him to do whatever is needed for us to be ready to go. I feel like for us coming into this next game, we have to be locked and loaded. I feel like we can't come in there thinking that they're going to roll over. even though we were up 20 today, they didn't quit. So for us, being up 20 is not enough. We got to try to push the lead as far as we can. And I expect Coach to go over the film probably tonight. Knowing him, and tomorrow we're going to have a game plan as far as the things that we could work on and come into practice tomorrow and be ready to work on it.
Any other questions? Thank you. Row on
Box
one,
score,
if you can move them. Sorry?
Box score by any chance?
They're coming.
All right, thanks.
Joe, Gary Wash from Boston Globe. 21-point lead. What happened after that, and what saved you? Like, what gave you the fortitude to make plays enough to hold on, obviously on the biggest stage?
Yeah, I mean, you were going to expect a run from them because they had a 19-point quarter, and so, just by the type of shots they take alone, you knew they were going to make some kind of run. Some of those came at the expense of our offense. I thought maybe, we missed a couple reads. They changed coverages and they changed matchups on like 3 or 4 straight possessions, and we missed the read to get the right shot. So I'd say probably 60% of the shots we took in that stretch, we got to get better, and 40% I was okay with. We just missed them. But our one-shot defense and our ability to get back to the game plan, they put a ton of pressure on your defensive game plan throughout, and you just got to stick with the discipline of it. So we were able to do that and make plays down the stretch.
Dave, second row on the left.
Joe, you guys were able to build a 15-point lead, had it into the fourth, and in that 19-point quarter you alluded to for the Mavs, Jaylen and Jayson combined for 22. What was working for them that maybe wasn't necessarily there for them in the first half?
Nothing. Our first half points per shot was 1.23, and so I thought we were getting like really good looks, but they just weren't falling. And so you just got to stick with it over the course of the entire game. I thought in the third quarter we found the right spacing, we found the right frequency, and we made the right read 6 straight times, which got us those shots, and they were able to fall. And then that's where the second stretch of that fourth quarter. We missed some of those reads, and they were able to come back into the game. So, just those guys' ability to know that what shots they're taking and continue to take the right ones over and over again.
John, back right.
Joe, John Corrales, Boston Sports Journal. You went with Xavier Tillman in this one, and he ended up as a +9 overall. What did you see from him? What made you go in that direction?
He played in the Western Conference for 3-4 years, and so he's played against the Mavs, and so he's had that experience. Memphis has used a similar game plan that we have, so he was used to that. And I thought, with that comfort level of playing against those guys for so long, he was going to be able to execute the things that we needed to execute. And so I thought he did a great job in our switching. He did a great job in our screening, getting to our spacing, and that's what we talk about with those guys. Is regardless of who's in, who's out, I trust the next man up because of the work they put in and the staff that prepares them.
Jared on the right, third row.
Jared Weiss, The Athletic. You used to get asked if you guys took too many threes for a long time, and it doesn't seem like that question gets asked too much anymore. You had double the number of threes they had for a lot of this game. They start to come back when they actually start taking them. How has your team been able to just stick with that, play through the misses? You're letting them attack your cross matches, and they're taking 2. How does that math play out in the end?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got asked that question a lot just because it was new. Anytime you're developing a new philosophy or a new style, it just takes time for understanding and execution. And so credit to the guys where we've decided how we're going to play, and we fight to do that. And, but also just being flexible in that. So it's not, we don't want to just settle for those. I think our guys have done a good job fighting for the right shot based on what the defense is giving us. We were able to get some of those in the third quarter. So I think it says a lot about them. The guys understand the game. They understand why we do what we do, and they work to execute it as best as they can.
Jay, here in the second row.
What goes into weathering the storm when Kyrie and Luka come out as aggressive as they are, and they're firing on all cylinders in that first half?
Yeah.
What resilience goes into just kind of sticking with it and staying disciplined when they're going like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's first having an awareness as to how are they scoring, what are they doing. You got to ask yourself: are we executing the game plan? Are we giving the shots up that we're willing to give up? And so we I think it was one of the quarters we had like 26 points of points that we can control, and so you got to fight like hell to take those away. Once you take those away, then you can either execute or game plan or work to adjust. And so I thought our guys did a great job of understanding the points that we could control, and they fought to take those away throughout the rest of the game.
Tim, all the way in the back.
Joe, you guys had a real big run.
Thank you.
Late in the first quarter of game 1. I think you had one in the third quarter of game 2. You had 2 really big ones tonight. Is it just something innate about this team that they know when there's an opportunity to really hit the gas, or is it just talent sometimes? So when you have these big stretches of pulling away and making it seem so easy?
Well, I would say both teams have a lot of talent, so I think you have to have talent to get to this spot. So that's a given if you want to make it this far. But our guys have a great basketball IQ. They have an understanding of, are we playing the right way? Are we taking the right shots? Are we giving up the right shots? And they know exactly when we're not doing that. And so they have an innate ability to control the runs of the game with the philosophy that we have and execute the things. And so it's just constant building awareness. Are we getting the right shots? Are we giving up the right shots? And then are we winning the transitions? And the guys do a great job of working towards understanding that.
Adam?
One thing you've talked about a lot during the years, how it's not supposed to go a certain way, the game's not supposed to go a certain way. We've seen, occasionally there's a big lead goes away, but for the most part, you guys figure it out in the end throughout the season. What has been the process, the guys kind of grasping that and not kind of, when they're right on the edge, not falling over it?
Just what we talked about, having an understanding of, we know teams are going to make runs. Can we manage those? And we know why we make runs, and we know why other teams make run on us. And so you just have to constantly problem solve throughout the game. You have to ask yourself why every single possession. Why did that happen? Why did this happen? Was this what we talk about? Was it not? And the guys, they fight for that because of their basketball IQ. So they spend a lot of time understanding that. And that's part of the game, right? They got out to a big lead, and I forgot, I don't even know what we were down. What were we down? 13? And so that's just part of the game. But it's understanding why. Why are we down 13? Is it effort? Is it execution? Is it things we can control? And once we answer those questions, we can move on, to the next phase of the game.
Vinny, third row in the center.
Joe, Vince Gilbo, Yahoo Sports.
How you doing?
Good. Jaylen had the big third quarter when he helped you guys push to the lead, and then in the fourth, he had the big jumper when Dallas was charging. Just the poise that he's played with, how have you seen that grow, not just in this series, but since you started coaching him?
How can I explain Jaylen? The guy just has a growth mindset. He just wants to get better. He yearns to get better. He's not afraid to face his weaknesses, on the court. And so when you have that type of mindset, you're just going to be able to take on every situation that the game brings you. So he puts himself in every single situation that he sees in a game. He uses 6, 7, 8 coaches a day. And every situation on both ends of the floor, he puts himself in that. And that's how you have to grow, is to, become vulnerable on the things that make you uncomfortable. And he does that.
Tim, back left.
Joe, you guys have been able to put a lot of pressure on Luka at both ends. You're obviously able to pressure up with Jaylen and Drew all the way up the court, and then you're able to go at him with a bunch of different options on offense, make him work a lot. Have you noticed that working throughout the game in terms of sort of being able to wear him down as the game?
I don't think he gets worn down. He looks pretty fresh out there. I think we could do a better job of being intentional about the offense and the spacing at times. But I don't see him getting tired at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Follow up on, go ahead, 2.
Just in terms of the intentionality on offense, did you think that was an issue in that stretch in the fourth quarter when things went sideways?
Yeah. We were trying to play fast, create advantages, and create indecision, but we didn't create any indecision. And so when you miss the first read, it's not a lack of execution from the guys. It's not a lack of trying to execute. It's if you miss the first read and you miss the first window, it's really hard to get that window back against the team. And so that's what we were able to do in the third quarter. We found the first read, bang, right there, and we got it 6, 7, 8 times in a row. If you miss that first one, it's a nightmare to get a second and a third one, and that's when you end up taking a couple shots that you don't want to take. So it wasn't because they weren't trying to. We just missed it. They do a good job of changing matchups and changing spacings and fluctuating it. So there's probably about 8 possessions where we'll definitely watch and be like, we got to do a better job of seeing the first read, and when we don't, we got to find the second one faster.
Last 2 here in the front, and then Ramona.
Steve Buckley from The Athletic. Joe, you made the comment before the game, the closer you are to beating them up, the closer you are to losing.
Yeah.
That's front and center now with the 3-0 series lead. So what can you do to reinforce that message over the next couple of days?
Yeah, just stick to the things that we've been doing. Have an understanding. I think, we were down 13. I expected that. We were down 1.5. I expected that. So you got to expect the expected. You got to understand that, we're just as vulnerable, if not more vulnerable than they are. And we have to play that way. And so as long as we have that mindset, and, when you understand that you're vulnerable and your back's against the wall, you got to fight. And so that's the mindset that we have to have.
Ramona on the left.
Hi, Joe, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN.
Hi.
Derek wasn't shooting the ball all that well for most of the game, and then hits a couple of really big ones in that fourth quarter. I know that's kind of what he does sometimes for you guys, but is that just his mentality? Is that your emphasis on continue to shoot the three, just lean into the math? Where does that come from?
Again, it's all about taking the right shots. It's all about taking what the defense gives you. They're playing a unique defense against us because they're one of the best teams in the league at protecting the rim, and they have two great rim protectors. And so if you try to become stubborn, you put yourself in a disadvantaged situation at the other end of the floor. Our defense starts with our offense, and so if we don't take the right shot, we can't guard them. And our team has the discipline to fight for the spacing and to fight to take the right shot, whatever that shot may be. Derek has a green light to shoot the shots because his skill set is taking the shots that make sense. He can get into the paint and shoot the 2-foot floater off there. He can shoot off the dribble threes. He can shoot catch and shoot threes. So I love the fact that he continues to play. His confidence never wavers based on the shots he takes, and you can always count on him to make the big ones.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Jayson Tatum's on his way in.